You'll see moments when people push back against woke ideas without holding back. It's all about raw opinions and heated debates. Some folks have had enough of what they see as overly progressive political, cultural, or everyday trends.
Ziad, I use he, him pronouns, and I am Bangladeshi American.
And yeah, I just rolled my eyes. I'm glad the cameras caught it, because I was like, it's just a natural reaction. And there's a lot of people who said that was rude, done that, or you acted triggered. It's like, no, I didn't yell at him or whatever. But the truth is, the pronoun stuff is ridiculous, and I think ridiculous things need to be ridiculed.
We have two paths before us. Either let those dealing with mental illness lead, or stand up and reclaim our world.
Victim groups like these people. I know you're so oppressed, my dears. I know life is so hard for you. You have to live in the richest, most equitable, most just country in the history of the world. You have to get a college education. You have to voluntarily go to lectures. It's so awful. I can't imagine. The people who are in war-torn nations, they must truly pity you. Goodbye.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am. Take it outside. If you want to call me sir again, I will show you, sir.
These men claiming to be women seem to be upset for no apparent reason, and it's not very graceful.
You actually started by saying that blocking puberty, which is chemical castration of a child,
just one example, yeah.
Yeah, is life-saving.
It can be. How
do you know?
Because there are children who have been suicidal that have had these interventions made.
What children? How do you know? And how many children have had that done
Me personally,
and then
I
were
haven't
still
met
suicidal?
children. Me personally, I haven't met enough trans children to answer that question. But I know that the research exists.
You're making this statement, you're stating it as a fact in front of all these people. There must be a reason, there must be something that you encountered that led you to this rather radical conclusion that to save a child's life, you have to chemically castrate him.
Not every child. No, sir.
Okay, well, that is what you just said. The drugs we give to kids for puberty blockers, so-called puberty blockers, originally are cancer drugs used to treat prostate cancer. They're also used to chemically castrate sex offenders and child rapists. Now we give them to physically healthy kids. You're saying that we need to do that or they will die. And so one last time I'm going to ask you, what evidence do you have of that remarkable claim?
I don't think I claimed that every child would benefit from that.
Well, no, I didn't say you did. You said puberty blockers you said puberty blockers are life-saving. What evidence do you have for that?
They can be. The evidence is the encounters with patients who have had these procedures done, and it has saved I don't want to say it saved their lives, but it has made their lives better. I can't confirm whether or not they're alive right this second, but there are children that it has helped. So what do you have to say for the happy trans community who has benefited from these procedures? That's my question for you.
I guess what I have to say is that your entire question is built on a whole stack of false premises that you can't begin to even remotely defend. So it's a faulty question from the start. I reject your premise. I absolutely reject that there are any kids who need to be chemically castrated in order to be happy.
Okay.
She picked it up on Facebook or somewhere, and now it's the truth. This is how many form their beliefs in so-called facts these days. Wild.
You think my outfit is offensive?
Are you Mexican?
No.
Yes.
I think it reaffirms stereotypes that are offensive to people.
It's not yours.
Do you find my outfit offensive?
Yes. Yeah.
Why?
Because it's not your culture?
You don't really understand what their culture means and what it means to wear these things, like the hats and the maracas. You sort of have to understand where all of this comes from for it to not be cultural appropriation.
Does my outfit offend you?
No. You look nice.
Do you like my costume?
Yes.
Does it offend you?
No.
Do you like my outfit?
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Does my outfit offend you?
No, not at all.
No, nothing.
It seems like some people who consider themselves woke are just looking for something to be upset about.
Did you just assume my gender? You said white man.
Okay, I see your point there.
How do you know I'm not a woman?
I see your point.
You need to check your white privilege, your white female privilege.
It's absolutely comedic when those with progressive views are outsmarted by their own reasoning.
I don't want you to hate me for being white, but I don't want you to like me for being white. Why are these the only two options? Jesus. Okay, well, if I have to pick a side, I'm going to go with you guys because at least your heart is in the right place. I'm just kidding. It's because you control all of film and television. That's why I'm over here. But when you find my old tweets, I'll be calling you. Yes, I will. Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you can still comfortably tour the Midwest.
It's funny because it's so accurate.
Boys are boys from the beginning. If you were born a boy, you stay a boy. Girls are girls right from the start. If you were born a girl, you stay a girl and grow up to be a lady. Only girls can be the mommies. Only boys can be the daddies. Yeah.
It's very simple. We need more voices to speak about the simple truths.
How would you feel?
Yes.
If you're selling your home, you've got a home that you know.
Right.
And you put upgrades in it, and you know your home is worth $500,000.
Yeah.
And somebody comes into your home, and they see your photos.
Right.
And they see your family. And then they go back and they go, $350,000. You go, what the hell?
So you
But
tell that story.
wait, one
You
second,
tell
one
that
second,
story
one second.
to get people to be convinced that that's happening.
It's actually
out of 1,000 appraisals.
Oh my God.
Out of 1,000 appraisals, how many
What
times
are you
does that
doing?
happen? When you ask the question, what do you do if they appraise your house $350,000 less? Right? That's your question. Okay. I don't see myself as a victim. I stopped looking at myself as a victim a long time ago. And by the way, being Armenian and Assyrian, you know what a lot of people in the Armenian community do? You know what a lot of people in the Armenian community do? They sell victimhood mentality. I'm raised with that, which is the statement of mechka. I know you don't know what the word mechka means. Mechka means, oh, poor Roland. Oh, poor PBD. I don't see myself as a victim. And the other part is when you use one story as an example to divide and get people even angrier because out of 1,000 appraisals this happened one time, I don't think you're unifying when you say a statement like that to say, hey, this is what's taking place.
Some individuals perceive racism in various contexts.
You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning? So we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist
I'm
is
denying that
dangerous.
trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can
So
get
you're
pregnant.
denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you? Or are they
Absolutely.
also treated like this?
We have a good
by
time in my
questioning?
class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Imagine a lecturer who sees logical questions as transphobic. What could her students possibly learn in that kind of environment?
Okay, is it okay if I touch you? Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, if I touch you.
Go right ahead.
Before we get started, do you mind if I touch you? I'm also gonna cut my fucking hair. Do you mind if I touch you? Are you serious, bro? Just cut my hair.
Is it cool if I touch you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
It's usually just customary that I ask the person before I touch them. Just cut it, cuz.
And what were your pronouns?
She, they.
She, they too.
Yay!
Look at us, we're twins.
He, him.
She, her.
And what are your pronouns? Are you serious, bro? Just cut my hair.
What are your pronouns? They, them. She, they. I'm glad we exchanged those.
These days, woke seems just to describe someone desperate for validation. If any stylist asked me questions like that, I'd be out the door.
I got it, man.
It's sir!
Sorry, man.
Man, your scream is the most feminine I've ever heard.
You think there could be a gay James Bond?
Hopefully, everyone around the world reacted with the same eye roll he gave to that absurd question.
Well, man. So in the earliest chapters of Genesis, you have the creation of man in Adam. and then Eve is created from Adam's rib, but she would be the other sex. What you're citing is this line that a lot of people who are pro-transgender will say, which is, actually in some Native American tribe that I can't quite name right now, I'm sure they believe in a third and a fourth and a fifth gender, but that just isn't true. That is that's been made up by white liberals.
You know the movie Mulan, Disney
I
Mulan?
haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
Mulan,
Yeah.
dresses as a man, right? Goes to war. That's based off of true history.
Oh yes, cross-dressing has
Not
occurred in
just
history.
cross-dressing, but people who
In
went
Mulan, did the female character think she was a man?
No.
Oh.
I can't understand why she thought using Milan would be a strong point.
So I can't have an opinion on abortion because I don't have a uterus, but I can be a woman without one? Got it.
Of course, this statement may provoke reactions from individuals who believe they can identify with having a uterus.
You promote ends up with people dying because of it.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Because
let's talk about that.
Let's discuss that.
Like, because you promote like this hate towards people like me and other trans people, and trans people get murdered because of the hate against them. So it's not just like a free speech thing. It's
Do
that
you know
you're
what the murder
promoting-
rate of transgender people is?
Oh my God,
Let's talk about that data because that's a claim that you'd make, and I'd like to explore that with you.
Okay, well, you know what? Just up this. You should be. This is harassment.
Okay, you made a claim. You made a claim, and we'd like to.
Otherwise, I'm just saying this should be considered.
Okay, so you have no evidence.
She approached them, made an unfounded accusation, was asked a question, and then claimed it was harassment.
You know what woke means? It means you're a loser. Everything woke. Everything woke. It's true. Everything woke turns to shit, okay?
Being woke means that a man can wear a dress and enter the women's restroom.
Be comfortable with. I have extreme compassion and empathy for people who struggle with gender dysphoria and that they do not like the bodies that they're in. I have extreme empathy and compassion for that, but that just because someone feels that way does not mean it's true. If an anorexic person is telling you that they hate their body, they look in the mirror every day and they're like, I'm fat. A doctor does not just prescribe them diet pills. It's the same way. We should be teaching people that the body we're born in is the right body. God does not make mistakes. You have a beautiful body and you should embrace that and you should love yourself for who you are. And regardless, you can't biologically and physically transition into a different gender. And so, like I said, I have extreme
compassion. Jesus
compassion.
really cares about whether or not you're transitioning? Is there one time in the Bible where Jesus
Many
sat?
times. He made them man and woman.
Anyone who experiences body dysphoria understands that you were born in the right body. It's about learning to accept yourself. Seeking appropriate therapy can be beneficial in this journey.
Have a standard. You must be a biological boy to be a Boy Scout. You have to be a boy to be a Boy Scout. In the name Boy Scouts.
Boys with the Boy Scouts, girls with the Girl Scouts, really straightforward individuals.
She, her. Yeah, it's okay. It's all good. Hi. I use she, her pronouns. I'm not sir. Yeah, like it's like a knife in the heart. I did specifically ask ahead of time not to be called sir. Yeah, I'm just gonna go. Okay, the Sweetwater starts at, okay,
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
It's just always like a knife. It always hurts every single time. I was wondering if there's a manager I could talk to about something that happened. Yeah, I was called sir. Oh, okay. It just really sucks every time it happens. I don't need to be called ma'am. I just need to not be called sir, you know? Did you call me sir? I just want to tell you that the person who gave me this called me sir. Just like, it kind of hurts a lot to get called sir. Very good. Thank you so much. No, yeah. Thank you. I'm nice.
Nothing like a good misgender. It is a knife in the gut when I get called sir. I feel like I need to tell him. I need to tell him that hurt. It hurts more when it's not intentional because it means like this is sir. I know you didn't mean it, but I'm not a sir. It's okay. I know you didn't mean it. It's just, it hurts. I know when people clock me, it's fine, but like it does not hurt. Thank you. I'm not sir. Not sir. Not sir. But the guy who dropped the food off, he called me sir twice in a row.
do know that, and thank you, I appreciate that.
They need a serious wake-up call. No matter how polished they look, the world still sees them as men.
I mean, you use Twitter.
Right.
Do you see a rise in hate speech?
I mean,
But just a personal anecdote, like what do you? I don't.
personally, my For You, I would see I get more of that kind of content, yeah, personally. But I'm not going to talk to the rest of for the rest of Twitter.
You
But
see more
personally,
hate speech personally.
I would say I would see more hateful content in that.
Content you don't like or hateful? What do you mean to describe a hateful thing?
Yeah, I mean, you know, just content that will solicit a reaction, something that may include something that is slightly racist or slightly sexist, those kinds of things.
So you think if something is slightly sexist, it should be banned?
No,
Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm saying.
Well, I'm just curious. I'm trying to understand what you mean by hateful content, and I'm asking for specific examples. And you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
Well, you've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's why I'm asking for examples. Can you name one example?
I honestly don't use. Honestly, I
You
don't.
can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why. Because I don't actually use that For You feed anymore. Because I just don't particularly like it.
But you
And
said
actually,
you-
a lot of people are quite similar. I only look at
hang on
my
a second.
following.
You said you see more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And
Well, then how did you see the hateful content?
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen the For You hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
And I'm saying...
Then I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give me a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet. And yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Well...
That's a false.
No, what I claimed...
You just lied.
What I claimed was... there are many organizations that say that kind of information is on the rise. Now, whether it has on my
Give me
feed
one
or
example.
not, I mean, right, and
Literally
if you
can't
look at
name
something
one.
like the Strategic Dialogue Institute in the UK, they will say that. So
Look, people will say all sorts of nonsense. I'm literally asking for a
Right.
single example, and you can't name one.
Right, and as I already said, I don't use that feed. But
Well, then how would you know that?
I don't think this is getting anywhere.
You literally said you experienced more hateful content, and then couldn't name a single example.
Right, and as I said,
that's absurd.
I haven't actually looked at that feed.
Then how would you know this hateful content?
Because I'm saying that's what I saw a few weeks ago. I can't give you an exact example. Let's move on. We only have a certain amount.
I'm aware that this interviewer will occasionally wake up at 2 a.m. for the rest of his life and reflect on this embarrassing moment.
And I wonder if you would like to kind of backtrack or apologize on characterizing the CRTC as a small group of privileged insiders closest to the Prime Minister. And I would also ask him if he would like to define the word woke. I asked one of his colleagues as well for that definition, and I'd like to see what he has to say. Thank you.
Leader of the opposition.
Actually, I will backtrack. It is a big group of insiders, Madam Speaker. It is a big, sprawling bureaucracy with far too many people working for it. There will be less people working for the CRTC when I'm Prime Minister because they'll have less power and they'll have a hell of a lot less to do when I restore freedom of speech and freedom of expression online and on the internet. And as for the definition of woke has one purpose, only one purpose. Plenty of pretexts, but only one purpose: control. It is designed to divide people by race, by gender, by ethnicity, by religion, by vaccine status, and any other way that they can divide people into groups. Because why? Then you can justify having a government to control all those groups.
I remember a time when woke truly reflected an awareness of the endless BS that's pushed on us.
Abortion. People get raped, people get incest, and it's crazy traumatic situations. And it's very hard for a human to ask a human, "Oh, keep that baby." That is impossible.
Do you think
We're
it's
not
hard
God.
to? Do you think it's hard to ask someone, "Hey, don't murder an innocent person," even if you want to, even if that would be convenient?
I
Because
think
that's what
it's
we're saying
easy
about
because our fundamental beliefs are different. I don't think it's murder. I think it's that thing in the baby, not the baby, but the uterus.
You just said
That
it.
is not.
I think you just admitted that I'm right. You that's called a Freudian slip, and I think you just
Okay,
proved the point.
chill out. But the thing in the uterus is not a baby. That's what I was trying to say. It's just a clump of cells. It's a tumor. Okay.
It's a tumor.
And trying to be like, it's a baby. We just have fundamentally different belief systems, and I don't believe that. No, I don't think it's murder. It's not murder.
Right, but the baby unlike a tumor, say, the baby in the womb it has the DNA of an individual human being that's different from the DNA of the mother, and the baby in the womb has all the characteristics of human life, and the baby in the womb grows, at a very early stage, grows to take on the form of an individual human being, and the baby in the womb left unmurdered will grow into a full adult-sized human being, just like you are. So that would seem to be a difference between the baby in the womb and the cancerous tumor. So you're saying, well, I just don't believe that, but you obviously do believe that because you just admitted it, because you called the baby a baby. You don't want to acknowledge that reality because it's inconvenient. And I'm not denying that there are inconveniences in the world, and there's suffering, and there are all sorts of difficult decisions that people have to make, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a right and a wrong answer, and it doesn't even mean that you don't know what it is, because you've admitted that you know what it is.
Congratulations on your little miracle. Can't wait to see your tiny bean grow. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you don't forget to like, drop a comment, share, or click the button below if you'd like to see more content on walkies getting served the cold truth. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.